Okay, welcome everybody. This is the sixth marketing meeting. I guess we are fewer than last time, and there is also not much to discuss on the roadmap or on the agenda. But nevertheless, we can see what we've done so far and what we will work on next. I guess all three items are mine, so I'll just go for the first two. These are just review items. Landing page, the video was done. You can check the PR. There is a bit of issues of scaling on the mobile website, but those we can address afterwards. Because I think all of the issues there we can address afterwards. I mean, we need to kind of test how fast should we play the video, and let's say initial test is what I came up with. So yeah, I'm hoping to kind of merge this after this meeting, and then we have a landing page. I'll wait until if you still want to review it a bit. So this is the landing page, and the search NixOS.org. It's really close now. I have all the pieces locally developed. I just there are 3 issues more that I want to commit, and then we are also ready. So I'm hoping to kind of push the last, to kind of push the pull request, which will switch from old to new search, and that would also kind of close this issue. And I hope to close it by the end of the week, because it should at least be as good. It is at least as good as current search, and in some cases even better. Is there any other, I just went through the first 2 top items because they are quite just kind of announcement review. Any objections there or comment?
No, but I have to admit that I haven't really reviewed this much. If you want to have another pair of eyes on this before
it's
merging.
Always useful.
Okay.
I assume we'll have a bit shorter meeting, so maybe you can just right after if you still have time.
Yeah, sure.
So because I just want to go with it. It's going for too long now, but it's a bit depressing. But I know that a lot of people want to do this kind of in a perfect way. But I think just let's go step by step. We can improve. I'm all for improving afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, the PR has been open long enough, right?
And then the roadmap. This is actually what I wanted to talk. It's maybe not a roadmap item, but it's more like a kind of combination of status update where we are. Because I think we merging this to pull request, like the landing page, kind of wraps the whole thing. Like we did something. It really feels like we did something. And we've discussed much more than what is present there. And yeah, so currently what I think we did, and please add to the agenda in that done so far item. I think we moved to Netlify. I think that was a major thing because we separated really the website is about presentation and it's not tied with our infrastructure anymore. Well, not so much, right? There's still a few redirects. We reorganized the website, kind of clean up some stuff, updated some content so it's relevant to today. I think this kind of took 1 page at a time, and I think this approach we should keep, not too big changes. And first tutorials are there. We need to see how we can. I checked recently, a few tutorials already are there on NixDev, and we need to see how do we bring them in. But I think this is I would be completely happy if we just copy paste them as a first go, and then see how we can integrate this more better. So this is kind of, we went into, and of course search NixOS.org will be done this week, right? Did I miss anything? that you would say that was accomplished or will be accomplished this week, let's say?
Not that I can think of.
That looks complete.
Yeah. I mean, it's, every two times a week, it's some progress. Could we do more? Sure. Could we do less? Oh, definitely. But I'm happy, right? It's like we started it. That's what's mostly important for me, and we are on a good way. I think what I notice is that we're picking pace a bit in the last week, so that makes me happy. And I hope with this status we will be able to kind of show where we're going, right? So this is what I wrote down, kind of. So the next item, it's like what is to be done until next release. I don't want to do too much of the roadmap planning, but I think next release is it's far enough to be so that we can actually do the planning and not so it's not too short and not too long that we will be lost. So kind of, I think it's 90 days, roughly. Depends when the release is done. Maybe I'll just quickly go through them and then we can, I'll just quickly read them and then after we will end this landing page, we will then start talking what is those two descriptions. And this is the one thing. It's going to take some time before we are all happy, or maybe, but I think we can have a discussion now already, because now we can, somebody can make a pull request and see the messaging when we answer what is Nix, or how do we talk about Nix, right? It's going to be a bit easier to discuss, and we can take it separately. Better examples. As I will end the page, this will, I hope, make some people not mad, but kind of upset a bit that we could have better examples. And I will also, I would like to announce, and tell me if this is a good idea for others to provide better examples. And they can just provide pull requests, right? I think completely fine. And the more you will do the work. So if somebody just said, "Oh, we need better examples," that's really good. I need a better example, and pull requests, and we can improve one example at a time. I think there is always a price you pay if you want to show something good. It's a bit too complex. If you show something too complex, then it's not really like a showcase example. It's not short enough. So a balance. But yeah, I'm going to announce it. Then blogs news section. This is about to bring out what companies are doing as well, because we have them in the planet. And what more importantly, what NixOS community, the developers, are doing. So certain teams to kind of bring those news more on. Bring those news on the website again, and make them more prominent, right? So then the big one is the redesign. I just want to focus until then on the redesign and not discussing the tools yet. Tools regarding the tools in regards to should we use something else for templating and so on. Do we need multilingual features? I don't want to discuss that just yet. I would like to postpone this if possible and rather focus on redesign. I don't want it to be perfect. I just want it to be, our goal is to look more professional with the same tone as Rust, kind of. Download page, I'd like to have, if we claim that we are easy for cloud, we should have at least EC2, Azure, and GCP images and generate them. We have a placeholder on the website. We have all those tabs. We just need to generate the images. I think most of the code is done for all of this. It just needs to be put on the right place, and we need to be generating it on each evaluation. And that's the hard part. Kind of figuring out where to put what and do it. I already started discussing with the release managers, the current one, how we can help. And I'd like to open the discussion. And in one of the future meetings, I'd like to invite the release manager after some discussion is already being done on the ticket, how we can help, and then we further discuss it here. And the last two things, which are, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to contribute, like I'd like to have them, but I'm not sure how much, is the commercial support page. Basically, at least this part could be done, like we could have, at least instead of the links, we could have it a logo of description of that company and what they're doing, kind of like, and then have it in a random order, so it's a bit more fairly. And then, the other part, which is a bit harder, is the testimonials. I think it makes sense that others provide testimonials from clients that are happy. Basically, if they have something on the website, the clients say, hey, we're happy with you. Well, make them say something nice about Nix as well in that context, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can be done that, in a sense, if somebody provides a testimonial, this company hired by this was done. I think that's completely fair. Especially even better, success stories. So this is a bit longer. So one company implemented some feature. How do you call this? Like white papers, or in this kind of area, use cases that were solved with Nix. That would be nice. And in different areas, we can tag them. This kind of goes a bit with the blog and news section. It's like, might be something similar. But this is kind of to be discussed. Is this fair game? Are all the companies can all the companies equally contribute, right? And be equally visible in a kind of random order. I think that's important to keep there. If some companies do more work with Nix, that that also needs to be somehow balanced. And then the job section. I think this could be an interesting way of an income to a NixOS Foundation. Again, we would need to define why we need the income, but I think at that point, we would for start, we can at least have, like, going long term, we could monetize this for our infrastructure. But I think initially we at least want a job section where somebody posts a job, somebody approves it, and it's posted on the website. And there's like a job board, with a link to apply to that company, and that's it. I think these are like non-controversial topics. That's it. And now we can just take turn. What makes sense or not?
Yeah, it all makes sense to me. Do you have any thoughts about the redesign? I think we talked about it at some point, that we should have a professional designer take care of that. But of course, that would require some budget.
I don't know how to do a redesign, to be honest. I think there is a lot of. I don't want to do it, right? I think Samuel is really interested in how the technology behind the redesign will look like. Just speaking of the redesign, what I'm mostly interested in is in the process. Like, I'm worried that whatever we'll produce, there is going to be a percentage of people who are disagreeing, right? And I think it's not okay, but I think we cannot avoid that, right?
Yeah.
But I would not. So if we hire somebody, so first, where do we get the money? That's one question. And the second one, I suppose if we hire somebody, we need to be explicit that there might be few rounds of redesign, right? So, because I'm not sure at which point we will say this is good enough. Like, how does this decision fall on this is good enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is going to be a bit hard. mostly for me, I think it's important that it looks professional. Now, if I don't agree with the style, I'm not that. I'll be okay with everything, anything. Yeah. So maybe I'm not the right one to ask, to be honest. Like, because maybe some others have more.
Right.
Is it normal to ask for like 3 versions of it?
I think this is I mean, if you hire a freelance designer, that's a regular process. I mean, you pay for these iterations, of course, right? If you want to have 3 versions, that's already quite a lot.
Exactly. Or maybe we can just. Sorry. Yeah.
1 iteration is kind of normal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Where you just go like, okay, do a first draft and then redo it after getting some feedback. I mean, that's regular because you're not going to get it right straight away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if you, I'm just worried a little bit, like if you put this to the entire community for feedback, it might never get done.
Yeah, exactly. But on the other, it's like a double sword problem, because it's, you want the feedback, but you don't want not too much, but it's like at one point you want to see if your ideas were properly expressed and if they've got confirmed. Oh, if we do it like this. I guess we just need to dive into it and see how it is.
I think if you ask for feedback, it should be more about whether it works on say a mobile device, that sort of feedback, and not whether people agree with the exact color scheme, because that's hopeless.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, we are only 3 here, but still, I think it's if we can then have another discussion about the process. But I think for now we can say, let's have a process and discuss the whole, let's say, 3 options, like those initial options where the designer asks you in which direction should it spend more time, and then have few iterations on that, and we discuss them here in the meetings, so everybody will be able to see them, and the kind of feedback will go into the meetings. We listen to it, but there's only so much we can, right? And then, especially once we have a preview of this, we will go. We really need people to test out the website and give us the feedback on does it work on mobile, this device, that device, and so
on. What I'm wondering about is are we looking to hire somebody to do the design, as in like a mock-up of the design, or also for the implementation?
I think the first one only.
Okay.
I would assume, right?
Okay. So then we get some kind of mobile version and a desktop version, and it's up to us to interpolate properly and implement this with the right
exactly.
technology.
Yeah, exactly. I think we are. I guess what we need now, I think, once we know how to talk about Nix and NixOS, I think this, and even if we start the redesign process, that we start looking for somebody, I think once we figured out how to talk about Nix, we will also have a designer or design team that will do the design, right? Because I think these two things are connected a bit. They kind of need to know who are we, who is our audience, and what is Nix, right? And I think that can kind of give them all the fuel needed to come up with something. I assume we are sticking with the logo. That doesn't change, right? It's like at least narrowing it down, right? So logo doesn't change. The structure should more or less be there, something like this. Ideas welcome how to change it, but I mean the structure of the menu, in sense.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
I guess as we will go with the redesign, we will probably need to do quite few iterations. And if somebody wants to take this upon themselves to kind of, each of these items somebody can take and do it on its own, kind of take the lead, you know. So
does it make sense to open GitHub issues for each of these? Start assigning actually, so we know they're taken or not taken.
Yeah. That I think even we can have a milestone open with all these tickets there. I will do this after the meeting as I write also the minutes, and then next time we can discuss who takes what. But redesign, I think we need to start it now so that we are somewhere in September.
Yeah.
Whoa, new website.
Sure. I guess this is the most the topic to be the most discussed, right? And I think we'll have this discussion. But what we decided was now only look for a designer. We don't need implementation. Logo stays, so that and what stays, the menu stays, kind of not the menu but the structure. So you're probably more looking for a UI designer than a UX designer then. If you don't question necessarily the entire structure and the content.
I mean, I'm willing to accept all the feedback, you know, and like, well, every time the feedback is good, but I don't want somebody to turn the whole. I'm not sure I can provide all the input to the design, the UX input that the person needs. Right.
Okay.
I'll, like, I don't know how to do this because we had like 3 months of talking.
Yeah, for sure.
And we hardly know it. I mean, we are still working on it. But this is a good time looking for UI. Okay, I think the most important is that we don't look for something to be perfect, but just something that it's much better than now, and it's completely fine. We can change the design in 2 years again, and I think at that point we'll have more discussion what is Nix and how it's Nix. And do you have any other topics that you would like to see, like, until the next release?
I wonder whether we should take in the tutorial guide work, include this in here because it's happening anyway.
Yeah, I kind of marked it that it's being done, but it's actually ongoing, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have a few basic tutorials, but
you're right.
I guess there's still a lot to add to that.
While speaking of tutorial and guide, last time you said you're going to give it a try to integrate it.
Yeah.
Have any attempt?
I didn't really have the time, to be honest.
Okay, no, but, completely fine.
Yeah, I'm thinking at the moment of, first of all, just linking to NixDev, maybe to individual NixDev pages. Depends on how stable that is, whether that's feasible. Probably have to.
I think we discussed this last time that we want it to be incorporated. Like even just copy pasting it would be good enough.
Okay. Well, Yeah, that's another way to do it. Okay, but then there should be probably an automatic process for that scripting that it's
I agree.
included. I mean, because otherwise, it's every tutorial we add is just gonna create more work.
I agree. But even for a beginning, so that we see the feel, how it looks, and everything, and we might be able to solve some of the issues.
Yeah.
Of, let's say, the CSS and design on one side, and on the other side, we'll figure it out how to import on a nightly basis, for example.
Yeah. Okay. I can copy paste some first, and then
just to see how it looks.
And then we can think about more sophisticated ways of.
Yeah, sounds good.
Making this work. Okay. Good.
Yeah. With the tutorials and guides, I was hoping that we would have like 10 guides, tutorials that are, like the most important, especially for newcomers. And as we go further, let's say in a year when we have a multi-language site, that we will also translate like the top 10 tutorials that we, those that we think that are worth translating, for especially newcomers. That was kind of, this is my separation, like even between tutorials there are different levels.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, okay.
One other point that I want to look into, that I mentioned last time, was the testing, user testing. And I'm thinking a little bit about like where to focus this, because my first motivation for this was actually the guides.
Yeah.
to find out like how readable they are and how well people actually understand them. But at the same time, it might also apply to the website as a whole, right? You could just let people look at the website and see what they think.
I mean,
but those would probably be different kinds of sessions.
Yeah, I think you would have with different people, you'll have different sessions. Like, just checking the landing page. Do we convey the message? Let's say after we do the how we call it, change the messaging, how we talk about Nix. Then I think it's worthwhile to check that. Right? It's like, go to nixos.org and then answer, what is Nix? What is NixOS? There you go. You have 5 minutes. And then what is Nix after 5 minutes? What is Nix after 15 minutes? And then after half an hour, I don't know. Like,
yeah, that could be interesting. Just to see like what people think.
But this comes afterwards, right? I think currently what we can test is if the tutorials make sense, but these are quite technical, right? So you need to find technical people which are not Nix users. I think that's the hard part.
So this is, the framing here is important, right? Because you can just let people like go on a website and have them narrate their thoughts. But for this first round of sessions, I would really go for, okay, so someone sent you a link to nixos.org. Now try to get started using Nix. At least like give them that task specifically. So that
install Nix on your system.
Yeah, and then do something with it, whatever that might be. Maybe we could get a bit more specific there. But yeah, so I'm trying to go in that direction, because that probably is the most the most effective thing we can try to get them to do right now and get information on.
I guess so. User testing now. So you already have tutorials on your plate. I think this is we need first the tutorials so we can test them. So it's in a sense it's connected.
Mhm.
But I say, yeah, if you manage to get tutorials done by next time, I think that would be great already.
Yeah.
The user testing it's a cherry on top.
Yeah, sure.
It's useful, but yeah. Okay. I don't have anything else. I think the list is already quite extensive. I hope that we will manage to get it, but yeah. Okay.
Yep. All right.
I assume this concludes the meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing more to add. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming, and see you in 2 weeks. Ciao.
Yeah. Thank you. Have
Bye.
a good night. Bye.
Good night. Ciao.
Have a good day.